But I also want to warn the president, and I want to warn any politician in the environment that Gachagua is one of the most dangerous politicians at the moment. The burden of impeachment might not allow him to win the ballot. And he remains very popular. He has some money because I think he had made some money in this government and the previous deals. So he has money, he can move around, and he might not run for any political position. He has nothing to lose. He only has something to gain, if at all there is something to gain. So therefore, Gachagua remains very, very dangerous person. The other thing also discussed about Uhuru's influence in Mount Kenya, because William Ruto has tried to reach out to Mount Kenya. Even he was there in Embu in this funeral that was there. Things didn't go well. Then the last visit in Mount Kenya is when he went to Chaweri to visit Uhuru Kenyatta. I've not spoken about this for some time because I've been trying to analyze, listen to information, read and analyze. Then I eventually find out that I've heard people saying that Uhuru had a handshake with, uh, with Ruto. And I want to say no, that was not a handshake. To the much that I know of it, Ruto was so desperate to meet Uhuru Kenyatta, to appear in public. I would call him, he was desperate for a photo opportunity with the former president. And the former president, of course, didn't want to deny him nyama. Like you say, after the meeting, they said, asante kwa nyama. So this was just a nyama thing and then a photo. And that's why even not much was said when they were meeting. They spoke nothing. It was just a handshake, bye-bye, thank you. So to me, it was just a desperate for photo opportunity. And I don't think Uhuru Kenyatta would ever try to say he can support Ruto. Remember the statements we have been going around, how Uhuru won Kenyans. This will be a dangerous presidency. How then will Uhuru turn around again and start supporting him for this term? I think Uhuru Kenyatta just did his part as a former president, hosting a sitting president. He has been hosted by others. He had to do it. That was a gentleman doing his gentleman work. So let us not overread too much of the political survival for William Ruto. Is that William Ruto using that photo opportunity to do propaganda to show that actually he's back to Mount Kenya? But if you look at it, it has not worked because the other visit in Mount Kenya, again, he saw a lot of resentment. I'm Professor Fred Ogola. I am a governance expert and economic expert as well. This morning, I want to talk about Ruto's strategic options because the president seems to be running up and down with so many things ongoing that is even unclear what is his exact bet. Because for you to succeed in life, you must at least bet on something. And what is the president's bet at the moment? He did a bet on Mount Kenya coming together with him with Rift Valley, and then gamble with the rest, but the bet was Mount Kenya Rift Valley. That made him become the president of Kenya. This time, we haven't seen the president with that formula, the magic formula, that can actually either keep him in State House or even actually propel him to 2027 election victory. And I want to say that even more interesting is that Infotrack opinion poll shows that the president has scored 17% approval ratings, which means that it's an E. I've never seen any leader in the world that has ever gone to a second term election with 17% approval ratings and won it. Kibaki had 48 in the run up to 2007 election that people believe he lost. Though it's neither here nor there, but people believe he lost. So how can William Ruto win the 2027 election with 17 if Kibaki really struggled with 48? So first of all, there are a few factors here. There is this guy called Gachagua. People are saying that Gachagua has a lot of influence in Mount Kenya, but to my own view, I don't think so. Gachagua is simply being used as an object of resentment because people know that Ruto hated Gachagua. So therefore, by welcoming him, by showing warmth for him, shows actually resenting against William Ruto. And I think that's what is happening. But when time comes when Mount Kenya want to choose a leader, it might not be actually Rigathi Gachagua because Rigathi Gachagua has not really resonated very well with Mount Kenya, especially in terms of leadership. Remember, Mount Kenya has got very highly qualified businessmen and women. Mount Kenya has very highly educated men and women. And Rigathi Gachagua doesn't seem to be anywhere near that So I believe that they must still thinking that maybe, or yes, maybe it's not Gachagua yet. But I also want to warn the president, and I want to warn any politician in the environment that Gachagua is one of the most dangerous politicians at the moment. And I want to compare this to Premier League. Have you ever seen how the teams that are almost losing the Premier League, or if you like, the ones which are in the drop zone, normally give trouble to the team that can win the league? Have you ever seen Arsenal struggling against Southampton? Last time we saw Arsenal just struggling against a simple team like Newcastle. Like they were beaten by Newcastle in Emirates Stadium, 2-0. So this is the same thing, like Gachagua might not be in the ballot because of the fact of impeachment. The burden of impeachment might not allow him to be in the ballot. And he remains very popular. He has some money because I think he had made some money in this government and the previous deals. So he has money, he can move around, and he might not run for any political position. He has nothing to lose. He only has something to gain, if at all there is something to gain. So therefore, Gachagua remains very, very dangerous person. The other thing also discuss about Uhuru's influence in Mount Kenya, because William Ruto has tried to reach out to Mount Kenya. Even he was there in Embu in this funeral that was there. Things didn't go well. Then the last visit in Mount Kenya is when he went to Chaweri to visit Uhuru Kenyatta. I've not spoken about this for some time because I've been trying to analyze, listen to information, read and analyze. Then I eventually find out that I've heard people saying that Uhuru had a handshake with Ruto, and I want to say no. That was not a handshake. To the much that I know of it, Ruto was so desperate to meet Uhuru Kenyatta, to appear in public. I would call him, he was desperate for a photo opportunity with the former president. And the former president, of course, didn't want to deny him nyama. Like you say, after the meeting, they said, asante kwa nyama. So this was just a nyama thing and then a photo. And that's why even not much was said when they were meeting. They spoke nothing. It was just a handshake, bye-bye, thank you. So to me, it was just a desperate for photo opportunity. And I don't think Uhuru Kenyatta would ever try to say he can support Ruto. Remember the statements we have been going around, how Uhuru won Kenyans. This will be a dangerous presidency. How then will Uhuru turn around again and start supporting him for this term? I think Uhuru Kenyatta just did his part as a former president, hosting a sitting president. He has been hosted by others. He had to do it. That was a gentleman doing his gentleman work. So let us not overread too much of the political survival for William Ruto. Is that William Ruto using that photo opportunity to do propaganda to show that actually he's back to Mount Kenya? But if you look at it, it has not worked because the other visit in Mount Kenya, again, he saw a lot of resentment, a lot of, let's say, acrimony, a lot of rejection. So even that handshake has not helped. I've not seen Uhuru Kenyatta talking something positive to make Kenyans start to believe him. Even people brought rumors that Uhuru's brother was going to join Ruto's government. That did not happen. So it is very clear that Uhuru is a statesman, and maybe he's not interested at all on the fact that he can actually give Ruto a survival. And I want to tell people that I've been studying Mount Kenya, how they talk, how they vote, how they address issues. And I think that people misunderstand Mount Kenya. People misunderstand Mount Kenya that they ride on waves. No. Mount Kenya goes for tangible things. There's no amount of political kingpinship. There's no amount of these political rhetorics that will actually make Mount Kenya go your way. Because why did they support Kibaki? Why did they support Matiba? Why did they support Ruto? Why did they support Uhuru? If you look, when Raila Odinga began his campaign in Mount Kenya, when Raila Odinga made his first speech, he went to tell them history. He went to prehistory. He explained the history before we were born. Of course, then somebody told Raila Odinga, please stop telling us history. Tell us what you will do for us as Mount Kenya. I remember there are so many leaders who advised Raila for Mount Kenya to that. Please just go first and tell us, what do you want to do for Mount Kenya? What are you doing for Kenya? What is your strategic vision? But Raila Odinga thought that more of the historical aspect was important. It was about regarding the legacy of the past, not the present. It was more of I was in prison, we suffered, we fought during Moi, now it's time to liberate. But Mount Kenya did not see where the economic aspect lies on that story of Raila Odinga. So they sort of didn't vote for Raila Odinga. And they chose William Ruto, though deceiving them about the bottom up, the Boda Boda Mama Mboga story, the issue of reviving the economy, the town hall meeting. So they chose Ruto because Ruto seemed to have told them something very concrete what he was going to do. He said, Biblia ikianguka chini, nitafanya hivi na hivi. So that was the main thing Mount Kenya did. So Mount Kenya people cares about something tangible. They are not about to care too much about the political rhetorics or appointment of appointment. Because Mount Kenya, which appointment can you give Mount Kenya that can surprise them? Mount Kenya has had 3 sitting presidents. I heard people saying, Luo Nyanza, for the first time we have a CS Treasury. How many CS Treasuries have come from Mount Kenya? So that won't surprise them at all. But what will surprise Mount Kenya is if you put their children to work, if you help the economy of Mount Kenya to come up. Mount Kenya people are traders. Nyama Kimwa, talk about the dairy farming. So farming, trading should work. So they have Githunguri Dairy, there's Odhaya Dairy, there's Mukrueni Dairy. Those milk are lying there and getting wasted when William Ruto is importing milk from abroad. They would not take that kindly even if you give them a CS of Interior, even if you give them CS of Treasury, even if you give them CS of what. They will only care if they can be able to trade and be able to sell their milk, sell their coffee, sell their tea. If you do the Mau Mau Road, which was meant to feed the rest of Kenya, Mau Mau Road is not a selfish road as people think. Mau Mau Road was a road to liberate Kenya in terms of agriculture and food security. That's why it connects from Nakuru. It can go all the way to Naivasha. You go to Nyandarua. You can go to Nyahururu. You come all the way to Nanyuki. You bring it even as you come now to Thika Road. You take it now to Kambani, Kruthkile, Mambogu. You take it even to Makueni. So then you come again, connect to Nairobi. Then you go back again to Nakuru. Then it goes away to Kisumu. So that road was not a selfish road for the Kikuyu like people have been saying it. It was meant to ensure that there's intra-Kenya trade, where the inter-community trade, where what is good in Ukambani, like the pineapples they have there, you have the mangoes, you have they also have the oranges there, can be traded into the Kikuyu land, and the milk from Kikuyu land can go to Kambani. So it was meant about making Kenya actually food secure. But people have been thinking it's a tribal road. Mau Mau does not mean Kikuyu. Mau Mau was the rallying call for Kenya that Muzungu aende Ulaya, Mwafrika apate uhuru. So it was not something like, so I want to say that Kenyans, Mount Kenya will not care too much about these rhetorics that is being said between Gachagua, Ruto. Mount Kenya will go for who is it that is going to offer them the economic well-being they want? Who can make their kids go to school? Who can make them access quality, affordable, reliable healthcare? Mount Kenya will care about who will ensure that they feel safe when they walk around because of, let's say, no abductions. Mount Kenya will care about who will ensure that there's comfort, good road transport, will ensure that there's electricity, who will ensure that there's government services, they can access government services, passports, education, name it. Mount Kenya will not care less about positions at the moment. Maybe Luo Nyanza might be surprised more about positions because they haven't seen a president before. Maybe it's when they are seeing the first attorney general in their area, they are seeing the first CS Treasury in their area, they are seeing the first minister of energy in their area, but they have not seen a president. Mount Kenya, they have seen the best of the best. So the only thing now they want is government services, and they want to have food on the table, which are called guaranteed livelihoods, guaranteed comfort, and future investment in them, their children, and in the old age, the people who are all there. If you do that to Mount Kenya, it will surprise them, and nothing else will surprise them. In fact, there is nothing Ruto has actually said. When I hear that, when I hear people making stories like Ruto has abandoned Mount Kenya and now is embracing Luo Nyanza, let me tell you what. Anybody really understand what it means by abandonment? Is there any road project that was being done in Mount Kenya that has been stopped and has been taken to Luo Nyanza? Tell me which road is it. Name it. There's none. Before, Moi would stop road in one area and take to another area to show you that siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. But there's no single road. There's no single education investment that has been taken from Luo Nyanza, from Mount Kenya to Luo Nyanza. The only thing which was done, there have been appointment of some people in the cabinet from Luo Nyanza in Ruto's cabinet. But equally, Mount Kenya people still have more members in the cabinet than the Luo country, the Luo nation. So I don't see this so-called abandonment that what was being done in Mount Kenya has been taken in Luo Nyanza. The only thing which is happening, the president is visiting Nyanza more frequently than he's visiting Mount Kenya. And those visits is just for himself, making noise on top of the cars, but really not tangible development. He has been talking to young people in Kondele, promising them heaven, and it's not happening. So to end here, I do not see why someone should say that Mount Kenya has been a wide berth. I don't understand why people are saying that Luos are in government, because Luos are not in government. That's the truth. And not just Luos in government. There is no community in Kenya that is in this government. I want to tell you, the only people in this government are people who are political kingpins in the government. But the communities are not in government because of what? To be in government means that you are getting government services. If you ask Opiyo and I, how many people in Ugenya or in Ugunja or in Luo Nyanza he has given access to electricity that were not having electricity before? If you ask somebody, how much more money is going to Luo Nyanza from Treasury than it was there when Junun and Dungu was there? There's none. In fact, the current budget he's using now was done by Professor Junun and Dungu, and you can't change a budget just because you're a CS Treasury, because budget must be approved in Parliament. So even the roads that Ruto has promised in Luo Nyanza, nothing has happened there. In fact, I want to tell my fellow Luos, don't be deceived. I was listening to every speech William Ruto made during the homecoming for all the CSS in Luo Nyanza. And Ruto promised a total of 5.1 trillion shillings project for Luo and Kisii region only. Now, the Kenyan budget is 4.2 trillion. When someone has promised you something that is bigger than the whole budget as a region, you know that you'll suffer the same thing. The same way some people have been told what was not done, the way somebody has made promises he has not fulfilled. So all those promises he has made to Luo Nation, maybe they won't be fulfilled. It will be so serious if the promise that Luo Nation are hanging on the most will not be fulfilled, and that is the one for Raila Odinga, because Raila Odinga surely should become the AEC chair. I support that 100%, and I'm even blogging and telling people and even doing what they so-called lobbying for it. But the truth be said, that William Ruto remains so instrumental in Raila Odinga becoming AEC chair, and the behaviors that he's doing in the country might be the problem. For example, these abduction issues. Maybe some countries are saying, how do you elect someone from AUC to come to become chair of AUC when a country where they're coming from, there's abduction? So I'm asking Mr. President, fully support Raila Odinga and even change the policies to show that Kenya can be an example in an African platform. Not that you are telling Raila Odinga you're taking him to AUC, and here your policies are showing people that Kenya cannot be an example. Let us ensure the corruption that is in the country also is reduced. Let's ensure that there's government services. If you are a head of state supporting Raila Odinga's candidature, cannot deliver on your promises, how will people believe Raila Odinga's promises for the entire Africa? So according to me, I would like to ask my fellow Lobos, let us be very pragmatic. Let us start singing Ruto once we have seen the tangibles. The tangibles is one. Next month, in February, 25th of February, let us see Raila Odinga being elected to AUC. After that, let us praise what we have seen. In fact, even faith without reason is useless. Faith and reason goes together, because God is the one who created our brain, so reason that God gave us. At the same time, God is the one who put faith in us. So we have to use faith and reason together. So once he has delivered on that, Let us also wait on the projects he has promised, which is worth 5.1 trillion shillings. Those roads he has promised, the jobs he has promised, let us see them. Without that, don't waste my time, because I can tell you, William Ruto is gambling with sticking to Luo Nation, because if those promises are not fulfilled between now and 2027, surely Mount Kenya is gone, Luo Nation will have felt betrayed, and therefore William Ruto will just have to go home. But for now, we wait and see what happens. Thank you.